Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you are doing well. Sorry it has taken me so long to get this video out. I'm just going to go through a quick team update, review and preview into round 16 of the AFL fantasy season. As you can see on your screens, 1838 was my score last week, which was really disappointing. The trades I settled on last week were Rankin, Cooper Simpson, and Ollie Wines out for Jack Sinclair, Alexander Taru, and a Luke Jackson. So we started really strong on the Thursday night, getting 104 and 144 out of Luke Jackson. Few scores that we'll go through, which really did hurt us this week. So looking at a 64 from Jack Sinclair. I had this on Harry Sheezel all week last week, and I pivoted at the last minute. I think long-term Sinclair is going to be a very good option. I was a little bit worried about what Sheezel's role was, and I thought if I'm picking this player for the rest of the year, I really don't want to be worried about what the role looks like. Sinclair was just not in the game at all. There's rumours he was sick and not well and all the rest of it. So hopefully this week, going into Fremantle, he can pick up a little bit better. Connor Rozee, Port really struggled last week against Sydney as well. So a little bit disappointing on that end. Then we copped a 24 from Cooper Lord against North Melbourne, which is frustrating. Zach Johnson against Fremantle, very disappointing. And other than that, like Brian Myers, 78, disappointing. Obviously, I looped Archer May, so I'm like, all right, Lohman's been struggling, and then Lohman on the Friday night against the Cats went off big time. So a few things didn't go our way, and then Lockie Whitfield started really well in that first quarter and then gets the concussion. So little bit disappointing on the round rank, 16,000. We went back about 500 spots into 2761. So that's where we landed last week. Did have some good scores. Will Ashcroft on Friday night did very well. Nick Dacos fought through a very hard tag. Josh Dacos got home and actually started really strong and then managed to get the 101 score. Baz disappointing. Caleb Daniel gets the tag from Chincotta, but we also had no Dawson and no Max Gorn last week, who were two big scorers, but we just had too many scores in and around, 24, 35, 66, 64, like just too many sub 75 scores. And then, Taru 49, I can't ask for more than that on debut, but again, I probably should have backed Kai Lohman over a rookie, but I thought the ball was going to be down in St Kilda's way a little bit more than it was. So that was a little bit disappointing to see from that end. Moving into round 16. So this is our current move. So Whitfield, I'm trading because I am a little bit worried about what's going to happen with him post-bye. I think he's going to get rested and potentially plays 250th back in Sydney the week after. So we're going him to McKercher. Lohman went out for Liddy, which locked in a 61, and Angus Clark has gone out for Callum Mills, which lines us up with a Nazaya Wangani Miller, Connor Rozee, Jack Sinclair, Colby Mills, Dacos. So that's going to be our back six for a while, I think, now, which is very nice. Connor Rozee popping a 120 against Carlton last night, a very nice win. Adam Chera disappointing there with a 59, but again, he's been fantastic for us most of the season, so I'm not too worried about Adam Chera. Rest of our midfield looks okay because next week Will Ashcroft will come in for Manny Liddy. Tom McCarthy, I'm kind of happy being the last rookie on field if it's, that's the case. But then we've also got a Cooper Lord. So I think, Ned Long, he technically is a rookie, but he's not playing like a rookie. So we'll probably have McCarthy and Long on field next week, but Cooper Lord, probably time to go. But then Rucks, we're happy with Gorn, Cherry. The rest of the forward line, I'm happy with. So Cooper Lord goes. Bailey Smith can come into the forward line if we need, or Bailey Smith can go into the midfield. And then we can actually only really play with Ned Long, because if I put Baz into the midfield and we bring in a Jack McRae or we bring in a Sam Darcy, then we can make that happen. So we're in a good spot with our trades for next week. I think we're looking at potentially a Zach Johnson down to, say, a Rouston, back, pocket the 100 extra K or so, plus the 88K that's in the bank, and that's where I'm at. I'm sitting on Dacos, VC, Jordan Dawson, C, but I don't know how I feel about Dawson, captain. There is a world where I roll VC on Dawson and then captain Wangani Miller, because I think Dawson could go 140, but he could also go 90. Dacos could get tagged, so there's a few things that I'm considering at the moment with the side, but that is what I'm looking at. Very, very short video. Sorry it didn't come out much earlier. But if you would like, throughout the weekend, get your dilemmas down in the comments and I will answer them. And we'll be back up and firing this week ahead of round 17 of the AFL fantasy season.